You're not too busy to do the thing that matters. You're too comfortable doing everything else. I'm talking to myself right now. This is the relaunch of Daily Power Boost. And the honest reason I have to relaunch it is that I let it go dark. Our last daily episode aired June 2nd. I kept telling myself I'd get back to it the following Monday and the Monday after that. Meanwhile, I was building the identity breakthrough engine and writing a chapter for identity driven leadership, running coaching calls, spending 20 to 30% of my week at networking events or coffee chat. My calendar packed. It all felt productive. The podcast just kept sliding to next week. What happened in those 10 weeks wasn't a scheduling failure. It was my identity operating exactly the way it was designed to. If you know more than you're living right now, this episode is going to land close. Every project I named was real work, valuable, but it shared one quality. Every task on that list was something I was confident doing. There's a pattern, we call it the technician's curse. You gravitate toward the tasks where your skill is the highest, even when those tasks aren't the highest leverage use of your time. Recording the podcast isn't difficult. Writing wasn't the obstacle, but the show was an open loop. No same day results, no satisfying done at the bottom of my list. My nervous system chose the work that closed a loop by the end of the day. The work with a 90-day payoff, that's what gets deferred. A pull from a room landed something worth sitting with. Most business owners generate income from only 10 to 15% of their weekly activity. The rest, just motion. The kind of work that makes you feel like you earned the day and doesn't move the needle. Underneath the technician's curse was something a bit harder to name. That is the belief that if I handed any of this off, quality would slip. The thing I built would stop being mine. You know that voice, the one that says, nobody cares about this the way I do. Sounds like responsibility. On the surface, looks like high standards. Really? It's just fear dressed as ownership. If you recognize yourself in that sentence, I want you to stay right here. That recognition matters more than any strategy I could hand you. I sat in a room in late July with a group of men I trust. We were talking about exactly this kind of pattern. Someone asked what was stalling, and I said it without even thinking. My issue isn't the writing itself, it's the time management. The room went quiet, and in that quiet, I heard what I had just said. What I'd named wasn't a time problem. It was my self-concept, the identity that says, if I'm not the one touching every piece of this, it doesn't count. The version of me that treats letting go as evidence you don't care enough. The irony hit me later. I'd been building a platform designed to help people do exactly what I wasn't doing. And I didn't catch the contradiction until I heard myself say it out loud. Overfunctioning, it's an identity, not your schedule. That schedule, that's just how it shows up. I kept waiting for a moment when it felt safe to let that version of me step back. That moment never comes on its own. I had to decide. When I sat down to record this episode, the shift wasn't about finding an open slot. It was about asking a different question. Not when will I have time, but am I making a decision right now or accepting a default? That shift costs something. When you stop being the person who does everything, you're going to grieve that version of yourself, the one whose value was measured by how much they carried. Letting that version go doesn't feel like freedom at first. It feels like watching somebody else drive your car. On the other side of that grief is someone different, a version of you that doesn't grind like it's penance or wear success like armor. That version leads from choice instead of fear of what happens when you stop. The next time your calendar's full and the thing that matters keeps getting pushed, don't add or rearrange. Just ask yourself one question. Am I staying in every role because I choose to, or because I'm afraid of looking like a beginner? If you heard yourself anywhere in this episode, that's not an accident. The no cost identity clarity call was built for just that conversation. You know, the one you just had with yourself. One question: who are you being right now? And is that who you actually want to be? The link, it's in the show notes. Tomorrow, we'll go one layer deep. Strategies didn't fail. The self running them was already behind. Coming up tomorrow. You've known for a while. Question was never whether you knew, it was whether you'd move. With strength and heart, I'm Shawn Michael. Stay close. We spend a lot of time on this show talking about the threshold, the space between the identity that got you here and the one required for the new ground. You're listening to this because something in your current architecture is fracturing. You're running the performer playbook or the striver protocol, and it's costing you an immense amount of energy to maintain the facade. The external results are there, but the internal friction, it's burning you out. Most people will let this episode end and go right back into the performance. They'll put the mask back on for their next Zoom meeting and keep relying on the identity that's actively caging them. I'm looking for the leader who's done performing. If you're ready to look at the structural identity collapse happening beneath the surface, we need to map your architecture. Go to the link in the show notes, book your identity clarity call. We'll identify the exact survival identity running your calendar and begin the shift into conscious leadership. Stop performing, start becoming.